Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 56th episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers titled On Fins and Needles. We start this episode off at the youth center where Tommy and Jason are teaching a class together, and Zach and Billy talk about how big Tommy and Jason's dicks must be, and how great karate is for when you only use it as a last resort. Rita gets sick of watching this gay porn, and Goldar suggests the slippery shark. In the park, Jason and Tommy are walking around, and Goldar and Rita send down putties so that the slippery shark's boomerang will make them not be friends anymore. A putty tosses it toward Tommy, who catches it, and he gets electrocuted away before it gets tossed to Jason, and the exact same thing happens to him too. Then, the putties disappear, and now all of a sudden, Jason and Tommy are dicks to each other. Turns out there's a spell in that boomerang, and this scene is a little too well acted. I mean, Jason says that the Power Rangers were doing just fine before Tommy showed up. At school, Jason and Tommy argue in front of Trini and Kimberly, and Trini gives us a great face. The girls try to get the two to calm down, but Bulk and Skull egg them on before they almost fight, and they get caught by Miss Appleby. I like the fact that Trini and Kim then suggest that something bad happened between them, and they don't suspect Rita at all. On the moon, Finster makes a slippery shark who has eyes that could probably see sounds. He then goes down to Earth, and he just hops around a bunch of times. At the youth center, Bulk and Skull are selling tickets to watch the fight of the century between Jason and Tommy. Also, Alpha is having trouble pinpointing Slippery Shark's location. Now it's time for Jason and Tommy to get ready to fight each other, and there's like a 45-year-old woman that's just there egging them on. The other 4 teens show up and Zach steps in between the two, trying to get them to calm down, but it doesn't work. Then Zordon beeps them, and that convinces the 6 to leave. Now Bulk and Skull have an angry mob coming after them. In the command center, Jason and Tommy show up and act like dicks to everyone, pushing Alpha out of the way. When they see the monster, Billy says that he's glad that he got over his fear of fish, and a nice little moment of continuity. Jason and Tommy argue with one another, and Zordon says that they're under a spell. So wait. Has Zordon just known this the entire time and he was gonna let them fight each other to death in the youth center? Turns out the only way to break the spell is for Jason and Tommy to put their differences aside themselves and work together by their own accord. And Trini makes me laugh by basically saying, okay, but like, what else can we do? Because she's right. That's not a damn plan. Jason and Tommy morph out of there. Jason and Tommy make an angry suited bet that if Tommy defeats the monster, he gets to become the new leader of the Power Rangers. And if Jason defeats it first, Tommy has to turn in his power coin. I like the idea that Tommy doesn't care about Jason being on the team, but Jason would rather be down a man than work with Tommy. Jason finds the slippery shark first, who goes through the ground with his fin out somehow and erupts out, teleporting all over the damn place. Then, the monster appears near Tommy, and the same thing happens to him before the two meet up. They decide that since Tommy wants to attack him from the ground, he'll do that while Jason will attack him from the air. Then, the two meet up again, and Slippery Shark appears and Jason says, "We need to work together." So they just do? Tommy just throws a damn rope net on the monster, and Tommy says that that's what happens when you try to break up him and his partner. The other 4 Rangers finally morph in the command center instead of just watching their friends potentially die, and the 6 work together because teamwork. Then Zach brings out the power axe, and he makes the monster come out from under the ground. Then Jason calls for the Mega Blaster again. They form it, and Rita just makes him grow, making them miss him. I have a feeling they were just missing a few minutes for this episode. The Rangers all call their Dinosaurs, and the Dragonzord and Megazord fight against a Slippery Shark, who literally just runs around like an idiot. After he does that, they just call on the Power Sword, and they use it to stop him from running around, and Dragonzord hits him with its tail. Then, the Megazord uses the Power Sword. They tried, I guess. At the youth center, Jason and Tommy teach their class again, and the other 4 teens talk about how awesome it is that they're definitely heterosexual life partners. Bulk and Skull show up demanding that the two fight, and they end up punching themselves. The end. This episode feels like Gung Ho Part 2. I'm not crazy about it because there's no stakes. Slippery Shark, however, is the best damn monster I think we've ever had, solely because he just runs around like a goddamn idiot and I love it. Other than that, this episode's pretty forgettable. Oh well. Will next time be any better? Find out then, but until then, may the power protect you.